Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, my name is CJ, as Tillman has introduced. But before I introduce myself, I think this is something that happens in China. Whenever I'm doing some presentations of that sort, people will be taking pictures, and I thought they're taking pictures of me. So to make it clear on that, so it's time to test your mobile phones, how good the scanning features are. Scale that follow the WeChat account on the left corner. I think there's some missing words. Oops. I think enter the code, if I'm not wrong, is selling coaching. Right, so follow the account. There's a small keyboard at the bottom left corner. Click into that and enter the code selling coaching as one word. Small letters.
Where?
Left corner, keyboard.
Wait, what?
Selling coaching.
What? Selling coaching.
Yes.
Together?
Yes, together.
Okay.
Got it? Yes. That's two ways. One is you get it yourself. The other one is to get Elisa to send to everybody else.
Do you want me to make that?
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, one no space. Ah, okay.
Good?
Woohoo.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
That was cool.
We've written something.
Oh, nice.
All right, so once we get it done, so this is more of the advertisement about me. So I'm a sometimes I say I'm a bi trainer, and bi means bilingual, unfortunately. And
I was not thinking of that.
So I'm also running coaching chapters. IAC is the International Association of Coaches. Running a Singapore chapter. I'm also certified as PCC with ICF, and all those people that I've been working with. So, end of that advertisement. Now, so. This evening is about how we can sell our coaching services, and I'm assuming that most of us here are involved in coaching one way or the other. Yes? Okay, good. So if you are involved in coaching, whether you are a coach yourself or you're selling coaching for someone else, how would you grade your coaching abilities in a scale of 1 to 5?
Coaching abilities or coaching
selling abilities. Selling abilities, yeah. Coaching abilities, you got to talk to this guy.
The others as well.
So how would you grade your sales ability for coaching services on a scale of 0 to 10? 10 being like perfect.
I'll give myself an 8.
8?
I would say myself 3.
Wow.
No, I was
Do
gonna go
you have any esteem issue?
A self-esteem.
Yeah.
Maybe from now on.
Maybe I just got some next time. Yeah, got some right now. You said 8.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to you.
Right. So whatever your score is, if you want to go to a higher score, what are some of the things that you think you'll need to do in order to get to a higher score?
Somebody to sell instead of me. Somebody to sell instead of me, yeah.
No, well, I'm not selling you.
Okay.
I can barely sell myself. Are you kidding me? I'm afraid. No, I think the challenge that I personally face, and I don't know if others face this, when I low cut my price, I get the work.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah.
bundled is training, coaching, I get the work. But if it's what I really want to get paid for a coaching engagement,
Oh.
so I find that I probably don't have the confidence for the price point that I should be at to be medium level, on the average of where coaching prices should be. Oh, sorry. I find that perhaps I'm not, I don't believe that I should be getting that fee for listening. So I struggle a little bit with that. For the work that I'm doing, I feel like it's a cup of coffee. So that's where I think my personal challenge is. I don't know if others face that.
Right. Wow. Does anybody face similar issues that it's like chatting with someone and charging people for it? Yeah.
Scott's got a pencil in class, which is like, I don't think so.
Not critical of anything he said, but thinking it through.
Right. Yes,
I
Dylan.
can share something. So it was some years ago when I actually all started really going into B2C, and I think it was in 2017 or something like that, 18 or 17. And there was a client that was interested, really interested in getting coached by me on a specific topic.
Right.
And I knew that this client really had enough money to pay. So that was the moment when I asked myself, what is it that I would really like to charge when I know the other person has the budget? And then I charged what I wanted.
Yeah.
And it was about 2,000 per hour. And then I said, okay, this is now my new price. I stick to that. And
2,000 RMB or USD?
US, no, 200,000. It was actually 2,200 RMB per hour.
Okay.
And then I started finding ways of maybe for some reason, for some people, like with online and cheaper and so on. But I tried to really stick to that.
Yeah.
And accepted some notes.
Yes.
More surprising yeses.
Right. Thank you.
That was my story.
Thank you. And by the way, if you're looking for things on transactional analysis, wanting to know why certain people behave in certain situations and not in other situations and so on, this is the guy to go through. It's the best I've seen in transactional analysis.
It's about you today.
I support that. I had a webinar, so yes. I follow that.
Two thoughts. The first thought is that a few years back, I made a shift. Having been in sales and sales leadership and executive leadership for years, selling's always one of the things to do. But as a coach, I made a shift. I can't take full credit for it. It was through mentors and reading and other things, to thinking about it more in terms of I coach. And people want to work with me because they get value. So I don't think about meetings as coaching meetings. They're coaching conversations. But then if someone says, I got great value out of that, and I ask them what would you like to do about that, and they say, well, I'd like to do more, then one of the things that's really stuck with me, and again, studied this with a number of masters, Alan Weiss is one of those people that I had a chance to meet last summer, and I don't know if any of you know, he's pretty well known, probably got 200,000 followers on Twitter, and he's known as being one of the more master consultants / coaches out there. He's got, I don't know, 7 or 8 books that are bestsellers. But I didn't know who he was before I met him last summer. He was at a conference where he was invited because of his reputation. But he said a number of things that stuck with me. One of them that he said was that when he sells his services, and he's been successful, maybe take it, he thinks about it in terms of dramatic results for equitable compensation. And that stuck with me. Dramatic results for equitable compensation. What's the right price? Well, that depends. But if you start with the dramatic results and you're able to communicate that in language that the buyer understands, then equitable compensation can be the sky's the limit.
Interesting. So how do you define equitable?
Again, it's defined by what is the value of the results. So I can tell you that from my own niche, I'm helping CEOs. My clients are all CEOs who are typically founder CEOs. Not all of them are founders, but to scale their businesses.
Sure.
So early on, I asked them, where do you want to be 3 years from now? Where is the company going to be 3 years from now? If they tell me, I want to double or triple the size of the company in the next 3 years, that's fantastic. You got to make a lot of change to do that? Oh yeah, we need a lot of changes. Okay, great. You need help with that? Yeah, I think I really do. Great. Okay. Now, if it's a $10 million business today, or a $20 or $100 million business today, you can do some pretty quick math. What's equitable compensation if I'm able to help them to achieve that, or if I'm even able to help them be more confident that they'll get there?
Yeah.
That's a pretty high number. So again, dramatic results for equitable compensation.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody get that? Lisa, are you
Yeah,
saying something? Yeah, please. Please do.
I think for me, I'm thankfully really having a lot of people coming in.
Yeah.
And so I'm fairly fully booked. But my problem is now having the systems that are more efficient so that I can use my time wiser to spend on those clients instead of working on those. And the other thing is the same problem that a little bit of what Rita was talking about is that the market prices here are a lot lower than the US where I'm from.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, like a third. So it's also for me, how am I going to keep some of my base here? Because I've been here for 10 years,
Right.
but now I'm working on going more global.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So for me, it's those systems and things that I have to put in place.
Right. Thank you. Steve, you look pensive. Like there's a lot of things in your brain. Would you like to share?
I was surprised what you said that the prices in China are 1/3 of the US. My impression is almost the way around.
But it's different. B2B is
So-
different for the B2C.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. If you're talking
Corporate,
if you're talking B2B, then yes, it's better here. The climate is.
okay.
Although I will say that some of the companies I work with now, they tell me that when they're hiring somebody from external, like internationally, they are paying a lot more than they're paying people who are domestically here. So I don't know, but.
Thank you. Thank you. Dio, you have an A. Tell us what's your secret sauce.
Well, I must say it's really great to hear all the feedback from everyone. And I think the first thing that came to my mind was belief. Yeah, I heard Rita mention that first. With my first ever coaching client, I charged $97 for 3 months of coaching. I thought that was a lot. And I had a community of students, so just imagine $97 is a lot. And even Tillman, he mentioned after he said that number and he gets his course, yes, then he kind of build that self-belief that this is how much I work. So I think for me personally, when it comes to having a conversation around my services, is one, do I really believe in the value of what I'm offering and the impact that it's going to create? So that's the first thing that's in my mind, and yes, I do believe it. I believe that coaching is transformational. And two, I have a clear picture of what I want and who I want to serve. So that way, if I'm speaking to somebody who doesn't really fit my niche and my criteria, most often it won't be a great fit, so I won't even get to that point of asking them because I already know.
Yeah.
I won't enjoy this and you won't, so it won't be a win-win.
Yeah.
So for me personally, the first thing is we gotta be really clear about who we want to serve. So that way when you're having a conversation and they start to talk about money, you'll feel comfortable in your skin, that they'll be comfortable. Because at the end of the day, people don't buy your product, they're buying you. Yeah, so you gotta work with people who you enjoy working with because they'll enjoy working with you as well. So I think that's what makes it easy for me when I'm selling. Yeah, personally.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Right. So there are various things. So it's about really looking for the kind of people that you feel comfortable working with, and you feel that you can add value, equitable value to. So it really depends on what you want to do as a coach, and what is the kind of audience that you want to serve through your coaching. Right, we'll have more of that. Thank you so much. And by the way, this is more like a discussion. It's more like a facilitation. So if you have questions, comments, feedback, feel free to say. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Right. So some of the things that we would like to discuss. So what are some of the first one is what prevents you from selling at the price that you deserve. So there are two obstacles in selling, especially when I talk to a lot of coaches. So the more common one is I quote a price, and then the client says it's too high, it's too expensive. That's one way of rejection. But on the other hand, I also encounter some coaches say that I don't want to charge a certain price. I don't think I'm worth that certain price. So that objection does not come from the outside. It's not the client who says that, it's too expensive. It's like, it's just chit chat over coffee. Why am I charging so much money? Right. So that's the kind of internal thing that probably some coaches will need to work with, and we'll talk about that. The second one is about positioning as a coach. So Scott over here is the CEO coach. That's one way of positioning. Some of us may be life coaches, and Alyssa, what are you coaching?
Creative coach.
Creative coach. So different people has got different niches. And we're not here to say which is better than what or which is more profitable than what. It's about which aspects do you feel more comfortable and sometimes more passionate in doing. That's the second thing. And most importantly is how you leverage your coaching skills to sell yourself. And one key things that I'll talk about at the end is sometimes I find that the best salespeople are coaches. Right? We'll come to that. There's a lot of commonality between selling skills and coaching skills, to the extent that a lot of my own non-training salespeople, I use a lot of coaching questions in my sales program. In a sense that, in typical sales programs, they say you need to ask questions, and they'll say you need to ask open-ended questions and closed-ended questions, and that's about it. Whereas in coaching, we have different types of questions. We want to have some propositions. We want to have certain reframing. We want to have questions that are linked to one another. We like to find out what the other person is thinking about or feeling about. So those are some of the things that really, really help in the sales process. Right? We'll talk about that. So first off, it's about what prevents you from selling at the price you want. So, and Scott has mentioned some bit on it. So we say price and we say value. Now, is there a difference between price and value? Yeah, so besides Scott, because Scott knows everything about it. So what's the difference between price and value then? What do you think? Any guesses? Or what is the similarities between price and value, if you want to put it that way? Yeah, Rita. Mike, yes.
So I guess when I look at price, it tends to be a bit black and white. This is the price.
Okay.
Whereas value can be in the eye of the receiver. So it's perception based.
Yeah.
So, it might not feel like high value to me as the coach, but it might be really high value to the coachee.
Could be, yeah,
So
absolutely.
that one is a little less tangible.
So value is less tangible, you're saying. Okay, right. Thank you.
So price is perceived value? Can we say that price is perceived value by the coach, but not the coachee, or both, but in different ways?
Make it simpler.
Yeah,
You're overthinking.
Yeah.
Right. Anyone else want to have a go? Yes.
First, I'm not a coach, I'm a coachee because I have benefits from the coach. So for me, because I'm also do some B2B sales for coaching service, I think price can be measurable in very direct ways. Sometimes we will talk to the client and tell them the total budget for the coach service. But value in some time cannot be measurable. So for the client, if the client didn't get the understanding level, they cannot, cannot see the value. but if the price, we will see you directly.
Yeah.
So for us as a sales, we need to help the client to get the very memorable value for the client, to save maybe to understand the client understanding.
Okay. Right. Thank you. Yes, you know.
I guess everybody was sharing, it just jumped out to me. I think as what Rita said, the price is what you say, is that number, that's the price.
Yeah.
The value is, why you believe it's worth, because I can believe that the value for CJ's jacket is of a certain amount, it's worth this amount, where somebody else can have that perceived worth, beliefs difference. So is the belief, the value is more on the belief, and the price is that number that you write on the tag. Yeah.
It's actually a lot more simple than that. Anyone here heard about this person by the name of Warren Buffett? Yeah, I'm sure we're all good friends with him. So Warren Buffett has a very simple definition. I mean, there are many other definitions, but Warren Buffett is one of the best. Price, what is price? Price is what you pay. And what is value? What you get, right? So that's all it is. Price is what you pay, and the value is what you get. Some will say that a value is what you get minus the cost of having that thing. It's just similar. So in simplistic sense, it's just value is what you get. So how does it act out in real life? So we'll go into this idea of the value of water. Now, we're in this room, and there is water outside. There's free flow. Water cooler is outside. You can have as much water as you want to tonight. And imagine if right now there's someone from the outside trying to sell you a liter of very high grade, high mountain mineral water, or Swiss mountain mineral water, whatever it is. So someone comes in and tries to sell you a very high grade mineral water, and what you've got is some normal water, just right outside the room. How much would you be willing to pay for that high grade, purified Swiss mountains water that will make you look younger? And sexy, maybe, but younger.
It depends on how much I believe in the water that has been sold.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Well, that would depend on me believing that this water can actually get me the perceived value that has been sold.
Okay, so yeah, no, it's just water will make you look younger and sexier. And what else? How much would you be paying? Would you be willing to pay for this mountain of water? Kate, you're shaking your head.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? You are young and sexy enough.
Yes. I'm worried if I get this water, I'm going to become a baby again. Actually, yeah, maybe this is one of the issues that can also get in the way of selling.
Yeah.
Because I see water as invaluable anyway,
Yeah.
because it's the greatest resource we have.
Yeah.
So the normal water is water.
Yes.
So the mountain water is water too.
Yeah.
Why need to pay more for the same thing?
Exactly. So
Right.
why pay more?
Yeah.
Absolutely, you're right. Okay, so that's scenario number one. Now, let's have a different scenario. Now assuming, imagine now you're driving on a highway. Let's say you're going to Ningbo or somewhere down south, right? And you're driving across the bridge, across the sea, that Hangzhou Bay Bridge. Let's say you're somewhere along the way. And halfway at the point of the bridge, your car broke down. And I'm going to do something that's very uncool. It's a gasoline car. It's not an EV, right? So it's an old gasoline car. So your car broke down. And the reason the car broke down is that it just overheated. Right? There's no water in the radiator. It's very simple. And unfortunately, it's a good one. So all you need to do is to fill in water into the radiator and your car will start. The unfortunate thing is you don't have any water in your car. And you are like, you're in the middle of nowhere, literally. You're just in the middle of the sea. So there's no one, nothing to help you. And just when you're about to despair, someone passes by and they saw that your car broke down and they found that it's a water problem and hey, they've got water in their car. And this guy wants to do a deal with you, right? So your car broke down, it seems like you need water, and how much would you be willing to buy the water in my car? Any Anyone would like to name a price?
Rita's like, I'm gonna bust him open.
So this is where the Good Samaritan in me,
Oh, yeah.
this is where the Good Samaritan in me goes, here, just take my water.
Yeah.
Right? And if somebody says they want to sell it to me, that's when the New Yorker in me goes, I'm not going to fill in those words, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, I pay because I need to, but I would not be happy, right? So that's the balance.
Well, you're not very happy paying.
No.
How much will you be paid? Until what extent? Beyond that price, you say, get off the bridge.
How much water do I need?
Like 1 liter,
Like a liter,
Like
like a
one
liter.
A liter? Okay. I don't know. I would be really angry having to pay a lot for that.
It's me
You know
selling
what?
you.
That's the problem. So yeah, don't be bringing me your water that you're going to try to sell me. Like, I would struggle with that because that's.
Okay, anyone would like to? Yes.
I would pay 10 times the normal amount, the normal price of water.
What is
to get
normal
out
price
of
of
it.
water?
Well, it's cheap, right? So 10 times the normal price of water wouldn't be that much, and I would get out of the pickle, and the person would be
125.
grateful for the bargain, and I would be grateful for it. Would be a win-win solution for sure, because I'm maybe leaving them without the water that they would need for, I don't know, hydration or whatever.
Mhm.
But I would get off the bridge, and I would solve my car problem. So
Right.
it would be win-win, because the value stands in
How
solving
did
my
you
problem.
arrive at 10 times the normal water price?
The value stands in me solving my problem
Okay.
and offering something back if possible.
Right.
So then there's a mutual advantage. So that's always good.
Okay.
I'm on the compassionate side.
But Rita is saying that guy is taking advantage of your situation. Yeah.
Well, not really, because he needs the water. So
I don't
I'm
know.
No, Rita needs the water. He's selling the water.
He's selling water. He doesn't have a case on the back of his car.
Anyway, let's take it from
probably
Melissa.
doesn't
Thank you.
have a case in the back.
Yes, Melissa.
So I probably look at a lot of different factors
Yeah.
fast in my brain.
Yeah.
The first thing I'd figure out is what's the cost of an Uber from here or a Didi.
In the middle of the
Right?
bridge.
So in the middle of the bridge, see what is the convenience, how quick can I get it, and what would the cost be to tow the place or to go with the car to go get a bottle of water and come back.
Okay.
So I would just figure out what are all the other options and what's the one that what's that baseline. So if
okay.
there's something else that's cheaper and then the offer that they give for me would have to be lower. The only difference would be is if somebody came and I don't know, maybe they're in a car with like 4 kids and you automatically feel bad for anybody who has 4 kids. And or they have like an old car, or you know, if there's somebody like that and they're nice about it, like, would you like some water? And they're like, yeah, let me pay you for it. And even if they're like, well, you know, it's not a lot, it only costs me this. But if I see that they're helping me or that they might
wow.
have need, that would probably,
Wow.
I would probably actually pay even a little extra than they ask.
That's very nice of
So
you.
those are the ways that I would probably.
Now, we know if Alyssa is driving, we know what to do. So get her and sell the water.
I would have added time to your.
Alicia already has a case in
I would have added time to your list because
Yeah.
where am I going and
Oh, yeah, that's part of it.
how much time do I have?
Exactly.
So we're talking. So there are a few things in play. So one thing that Alyssa was mentioning is like, if I get Didi, Uber, and whatnot, tow truck, how much will it cost?
Yeah, but for
Yeah.
me, the time is part of that. I agree with that because time is money for me too.
Okay, now the other thing is that assuming it's now summer, you're in August, the sun is shining, you could not turn on the air conditioning because, hey, your car is overheated, so there's no air conditioning. If you get out of the car, you'll be baked. If you get in the car, you'll be really baked. Right, so it's really, really high. How much do you want to pay for the water?
Have you been to Africa? Because this has happened to me before. This is why people in Africa sell water on the side of the roads all the time because nobody wants to get out of their car. It's different places in Africa.
I'm not exactly sure where the exercise is supposed to end up, but my comment is that value is not a logic exercise. people are not logical when they come up with value. They're psychological. And that's been proven over and over again. I was just reading some studies from Daniel Kahneman the other day. It's another name I'm assuming most people here have heard. I mean, I love the lottery study, which is the one that's sticking out in my mind right now. You have people, he did experiments where he had people pick their own number for a lottery ticket versus other people that were assigned a lottery ticket. And then he asked them how much to buy that ticket from you. And on average, the people who wrote their own lottery ticket, even though the chances of that lottery ticket actually winning were absolutely the same as everyone else, they wanted 5 times more for the ones that they had written. It's a psychological exercise. It's not logical.
Absolutely, there is a psychological impact to that as well, right? So the thing, what I'm getting at is now in the first scenario, when we're talking about this room, you got water outside, someone wants to sell you a Swiss mountain water, it's like I'm not buying. Period. In the second scenario, the product is the same. And whether the reasons are psychological, emotional, cost differential, value of time, we're willing to pay a lot more, 10 times as much. Right? So it's not a matter of the product. It's the circumstances that the person is in, and as a result, when your circumstances change, your value that you place on something changes too. The product is the same. In fact, the first scenario is a Swiss mountain water, and the second scenario is probably some tap water somewhere, and you're willing to pay 10 times as much, right? It's just that's what we mean by value. Is what you get. You want to solve a problem. Your car broke down. The alternative could be to get a tow truck, which we don't know how long it will take to get to the middle of the bridge, right? You may be going for this multi-million-dollar deal at your destination, and you don't want to be late. So that could be a lot of factors at play that makes you have, sounds like this is a lot more valuable to me right now. Right, so that's just something to think about. And how does it apply to our coaching services? It can be, yes. Sorry.
Speaking of that, that's good for the people online. So I think that what you're getting at, and I totally agree, is that the buyer of our services or the prospect who we're trying to sell to has to perceive that urgent need. That they need to get off the bridge, or that they need to, whatever it is that we're going to be able to help them with. And that's what they're going to get. And we haven't done an effective job. This is if you're putting your sales hat on. If you haven't done an effective job of getting them to feel the pain that's associated with that need, they're unlikely to get out their wallet and give you the price that you deserve.
Absolutely. Anyone else have something to add? So again, I think Scott, it's really about how people perceive what you're doing to them. So it can be a conversation over a cup of coffee. To some people, it's just a coffee to pass time. Nothing happened. To some other people, it could be a conversation that allows them to say, I think I should be doing certain things and make a huge difference in their lives. Right? So it really depends on the conversation that has the impact on that person. Right? So that's where I'm getting at in terms of the value part. Now, in terms of coaching, now, how many of you has got one of these? Oh, this is the latest iPhone 14. Right? So, and if you really want to put a finger on, okay, so how much value am I delivering? How much do I charge? And how can I, really know if there's a monetary value to it? We can think about, okay, if I'm doing coaching for someone, if I'm having this conversation with someone, if I'm helping that someone, what would be the kinds of outcomes that could be achieved? So if it's someone like Scott who works with CEOs, the founding CEOs, the outcomes achieved could be a difference between 10, 20, 50, $100 million. That's the outcome. If you're working with someone that is looking for creative ideas, be more creative, that is less monetary, more about what I can do with my creativity and what can I create, what else can I do, can I find a different meaning to life. So that could be an outcome, right? So it can be something that's tangible, it can be something that's intangible, but to that person, what is the outcome that the person wants? And can you help that person to achieve it? Right? So that's one part of it, right? And this is something that we do in coaching, right? We ask people, so at the end of our conversation, what will be an outcome you want to have? It's something we say in coaching all the time. And then it's like, we can actually program this into some AIs someday. That the next thing to say is, what happens when you get it? You want an outcome, so what happens when you have that outcome? So what is the impact on you, and why do you want it? So what is the impact to that person? And again, for different people, some people are looking for business success, some people are looking for creativity, some people are looking for life choices, and so on. So what will be the impact on that person? And if you want to measure success, there could be 3 ways to measure success. Right? And the most, if you're doing business, if you're doing corporate, if you're doing anything to do with technical sales and all that, it will be something that's quantifiable. You can be 20% faster, 50% more profitable, and so on. So that it can be quantifiable. A lot of things in life are not. So it can also be observable. In other words, do you see an improvement in something? Do you see that your team members are now working better together? Do you see that your team members are having better times and better innovations through their brainstorming session? Right? So something that's observable. It's hard to put a money value onto that or any kind of quantifiable metrics onto that, but you can see that something has changed. So that's observable. The third one is even harder to describe. What is palpable? Palpable is something that you can feel. You may not even observe it, but you can actually feel it somewhere. It feels better. I feel I can breathe better. I feel relief, right? So something that you feel within yourself. So it's one of these that you can actually measure the success of your coaching. So if your client is able to achieve one of these, what would be a fair price for you? Now, why is it that I show the iPhone 14 on the screen? Now, how much is an iPhone 14? In Shanghai?
Almost 5,000.
5,000? 5,000? Okay, so in what way, what does the iPhone 14 do for you in terms of your outcomes and the impact on you? What does it help you to achieve, really?
Who you are.
Sorry?
It really depends who you are.
Depends on who you are.
Yeah, well, what you want from it, right? Some people, they want it for the status of having the latest and greatest. Some people want it because the camera is better than the last model and they can take better pictures. Some people want it for any number of reasons. And we all depend on our computer in our pocket now for just about everything we do in China, certainly. So it really does depend.
Ultimately, Scott, it boils down to the lottery thing. It's just psychological, it's just emotional. If you're saying that an iPhone 14 can do a lot of things, so does the other phone that is half the price. Can do almost the same thing.
What is the delta?
Yeah, a lot of it is because, man, it feels good. Right? The iPhone phone is, oh man, I gotta have this. Right?
So, a thought, if I might, which is, these are all looking at prospectively, if you achieve, and I'm going to suggest that all of us in this room as coaches are really in the change business, or in facilitating change, whether it's creative change, whether it's personal, health, business. We're facilitating and coaching our clients and being able to make the changes that they want to make. They didn't want to make changes. They're not really looking for a coach or we want to hire one. But if you take that proposition and you accept that, then I think there's a flip side to this, which is that it's not just what the value of the change is, but it's also what is the cost of not making the change. And that's what I would suggest adding to that, because the delta gets even greater when that's taken into account. And oftentimes that's easier for a prospect to get their head around than is the value of once the change has been achieved.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Scott. One of the key things that salespeople like to ask, I mean, if you're ever meeting up with this kind of salespeople, just beware. It's a typical salesperson's trick. They like to ask this one question: what happens if nothing is done? It's a mind trick, right? So it's just to let you go into a mindset and say, okay, if nothing is done, this will fail, that will not work, I'll be broke forever, and I'll be a loser for the rest of my life, right? So those are some of the things that, and as coaches, sometimes we also go into, asking our clients, what happens if you don't do anything? And what happens when you've got something? Yes.
Yeah. Well, as I was looking at the iPhone, it made me think of something. There are three things that predominantly determines the price of a product or service. That is 1, yourself; 2, the market; and 3, the person who's actually taking the money out to actually buy it. Yeah, because, for example, if the market price is say $5,000, and iPhone decide, I'm going to sell this for $20,000. Yeah, it will be a really hard sell. Yeah. However, as we talk about different circumstances, the time that you need to solve the problem, if, for example, your perceived value of the results that you're getting is worth more than 20, you would spend it, but it'll be a hard sell. Yeah. However, if you believe that, okay, create this product, and this is one of the best technology that's ever been invented, the number that you attach to it would vary, depends on your beliefs as well. So that's another thing that just popped into my mind as everyone was sharing.
Yes, you're sharing this. Thank you, Dino. I'm also thinking about how scammers work. Talk about scamming right now. I mean, I'm not saying sales is scamming, but there's some similar psychological traits. Now, scammers, when they want to really scam the really multi-billion-dollar kind of scams, what they need to do is to make sure that they appear to be very rich and successful. So if an iPhone sells for $20,000, or they will get the flashiest cars, rent out the flashiest villas, and throw the flashiest parties, just to create the illusion that they are rich and successful. And because they're rich and successful, to some people, they will think that these people are rich, so why would they want to scam after my money? And that's exactly what they want. Right? So it's a matter of what kind of impact you want to do. Of course, we're not doing that. It's just a matter of understanding the psyche of whoever you're talking with, and what are you trying to project, and what outcomes are they trying to have. Right. River, you're smiling.
I would have the complete opposite reaction. Honestly, I'm listening to you, and I think I'm the complete other side of the spectrum. Because if I see somebody like that, I think A, they have too much money and they're going to charge me too much, so I'm not interested. Or B, they've got so much, they don't need a lot of money. So like my brain thinks differently from they're going to scam me. My brain thinks they've already got it. They don't need it from me. Yeah. It's sorry, that's why I'm smiling. I'm on.
Just like coaching and sales, you never work with everyone. There will be certain people that will believe in you and want to work with you and will have trust in you, and there are other people who say, nah, I'm not going to work with you. And it's just part of life. You are not able to sell anything to everybody. Be it your coaching, be it a piece of furniture, be it iPhone 14, there will be certain groups of people who want that thing in the way it's being packaged, and there'll be other people who wanted something else. Right? And it's about how we want to strike a conversation with them and find out what is it they're looking for. Right? And it's a process of selling, it's also a process of coaching as well. So